Like SketchUp, LayOut was created with the goal of having a simple tool set that is extremely powerful. This video will look at the basic drawing tools of LayOut, and you should find that working with LayOut has many similarities to the SketchUp tools you are already familiar with. To start, try the Line tool. Click to select the tool, then click somewhere on your page to start drawing a straight line. Continue clicking around the screen to add segments to that line. As with SketchUp, you have the red and green inferences that let you draw horizontal and vertical lines with ease. You can see red dots on your line when drawing a horizontal line, and the green dots when drawing a vertical line. Also similar to SketchUp, you can infer to points and objects in LayOut, and those points are identified with colored icons. These colors should all seem very familiar from SketchUp, but LayOut also has shape identification for various entities. Endpoints are shown with a green circle, edges are shown by a red triangle, midpoints are a cyan square, and drawing on an existing shape is shown by a blue triangle outline. Where two edges meet is called an intersection and is shown by a black square. Now that you know the inference points, hover over various points to see how LayOut will infer back to that point. This is very useful when drawing. You can also draw curving edges. Open the Tools menu and you can see that the drawing tools all have arrows indicating additional tool states. Click on the Line tool to see the three types of lines you can draw. Drawing with the freehand tool is simple. Holding down the mouse button allows you to draw a continuous free-form line. Drawing with the Curve tool allows you to draw with curves and straight edges. Clicking from point to point creates a series of straight edges. If you click on a point, hold the mouse button down, and drag away, you can draw a curved line and control the curve shape. Look now at the Arc tool. To give you flexibility in how you draw arcs, there are several methods used to create arcs. When you are practicing, just remember that each method requires a total of 3 mouse clicks. The first method is called arc. This method focuses on defining the radius of the arc. The first click establishes the center point, the second determines the radius distance, and then you pull out the arc and click to finish. Using inferring with this method will help you to create very elegant flowing curves. The next method is called two-point arc, and this method is the most similar to creating arcs in SketchUp. The first 2 clicks define the endpoints of the arc, and the third click establishes the bulge of the arc. The third method is a 3-point arc. This method extends an arc through 2 points to a third point. The final method actually creates a pie shape. The creation method is similar to the arc method, but draws a fully closed pie shape. Creating the basic rectangle is simple. Click to start and click to finish the rectangle. Inferring works with rectangles as well. There are several types of rectangles. The rounded rectangle has straight edges, but rounded corners. Try this while drawing a rounded rectangle. After clicking once to start the rectangle, hold down the up or down arrow on your keyboard. This changes the radius of the corners. After adjusting the corner as you like, then click to finish your rectangle. Remember to adjust the corner before finishing the rectangle. Once you finish drawing the rectangle, you cannot adjust the corners further. The lozenge rectangle provides much larger rounded corners. This provides rounded sides. The bulged rectangle has rounded sides but sharp corners. Like the rounded rectangle, you can start drawing the shape and use the arrow keys to adjust the radius of the curves before finishing the shape. The circle tool is quite simple to use and relates to SKETCHUP. Simply click to place the center point, pull away, and click to finish. You can use inferring to place concentric circles or circles in relation to other shapes. The ellipse tool is a different way to create circles that lets you draw ellipses as well. Click once to start the ellipse, then pull away and you can see the shape is created in a sort of bounding area that you are defining. If you hold the Shift key while drawing ellipses, it will constrain the shape to be a perfect circle, or release the Shift key to create various ellipses. The Polygon tool is very simple to use. Click once to place the center of the polygon and pull away to define the radius amount. Click to finish. When you are drawing polygons, you can change the number of sides by a simple command. Before drawing your polygon, type a number followed by S for sides. Like this. Type 7S and hit Enter on the keyboard. Then the Polygon tool will draw 7-sided polygons. Type 3S and hit Enter to draw a triangle. Now that we have a number of shapes across the page, look at the Select tool. This tool is actually several tools in one. True to its name, it can be used to select different objects on the page by clicking on them. You can hold the Shift key down to select multiple items. You can also hold the mouse button down and drag a selection rectangle across several shapes. Like SKETCHUP, when you drag a selection window from the left to the right, it will only select objects that fall completely within the rectangle. However, if you drag from right to left, any object that the rectangle crosses is selected. The Selection tool also functions as the Move tool in LayOut. Click on and drag an object to move it around the page. You can select multiple objects, then click and drag them to a different location. Remember to use the inferring capabilities of LayOut to move items precisely where you want to place them. Should you want to make a copy of an object in LayOut, hold the Control key down on a Windows machine or the Option key on a Mac while moving the object. When you select an object, you should notice the highlighted circle and rectangle surrounding that object. These indicate the other functions of the Select tool, which is the ability to scale and rotate the object. Hover your mouse over an edge or corner of the surrounding highlight rectangle to invoke the ability to scale. Click and drag on a side or corner to scale the object from the opposite side. If you are familiar with SketchUp's Scale tool, you will know about the modifying keys that give you added control over how the object scales. Hold down the Shift key to scale the object and keep the proportions the same. Hold the Control key on Windows or the Option key on a Mac to scale a copy of the object. Hold down the Alt key on Windows or the Apple key on a Mac to scale the object about the center. If you need to rotate the object, simply select it, then click and drag on the rotation circle to rotate the object. You can rotate freely or use the snaps to rotate the object in 15-degree increments. Sometimes you may need to rotate the object by a point other than the center of the object. Select the object, then hover over the center of the circle. The icon changes to a hand, indicating you can click and drag this point to a different location. Now when you rotate the object, it rotates based on this new rotation base. When you deselect the object, the rotation base is reset to the center. The last tool we'll look at here is the eraser. This tool will erase objects by clicking on them, or you can hold the mouse button down and drag across multiple shapes. When you release the mouse button, all those shapes are erased. Here is a tip for when you are drawing or moving shapes and using inferring. You can change the way that LayOut snaps to other shapes and can also snap to a grid. To view the grid, pull down the View menu and toggle the grid on or off. Now right or context click in a blank area on the screen. You can then turn on and off the ability for LayOut to snap or infer to other objects or the grid.